Hello friends, in this video we'll discuss how we can transform and compress Excel files using Power Pivot. Now to begin with, you will need Excel with Power Pivot, which is available with all the Office 365 version, but you can check with other version of Excel whether Power Pivot is included in your Excel version or not. Once you have the Power Pivot in your Excel, you will see the Power Pivot tab. You click on that tab and under the Power Pivot tab, you will find the Manage button. Click Manage and it will take you to a new window called Power Pivot for Excel. Now, currently this window will be empty as we need to import data. To import the data, we need to look for other sources. In this case, because we are choosing Excel, connecting Excel file, we'll go from other sources and scroll down until we see the Excel option. We click on that and we click Next. Under the Browse option, we bring in the Excel file. This is 13 MB in size, and don't forget to click on Use First Row as column header. Click Next button and the data will start loading into the Power Pivot window. In this case, it might take a little while. The file size was 13 MB with about 118,000 rows in it. Once the load finish, we close this window to see the data in Power Pivot. This is how the Power Pivot window with the data looks like. Once you have that, you can do many other things, but I'm just limiting it to the data compression part. You can click on refresh button if you are having new data in your Excel file. And to use this data, we click on pivot table, which should take us to the Excel file. And there we can start using that data for analysis in pivot table. Once we're done, we save this file and you will see the compression of the data. From 13 MB file, we see that the data is being compressed to just 1.5 MB in size, almost 90% compression. How do you go back to the Power Pivot window? You simply can use the pivot table again and you will see the option from data model to start building your other reports or other analysis which you want to do on the data. So this was first method. Now similarly, there is another method to connect to Power Pivot, which is through the Power Query. Under the Data tab, you will find a Get Data button. From File, you select the Excel workbook. In this case, we are bringing in the same data size file, which is 13 MB. Import this data through Power Query, and in the navigation window which opens, we can select that file. So I've saved that as a table 1 and we check on that and we click on transform data button to take this data into the Power Query. Now Power Query is a data transformation tool. We are not discussing about the other utility of Power Query here, but to take this data back into Excel, we use close and load. The first time when you use it, you will find two options. The second option, which is more flexible, which gives you more options where you want to load this data into, right? So click on close and load to, and it will give us various options. We can click on table to bring in all the data. You can directly create a pivot table report, but usually you will do only create connection and then load the data into the data model. Click on OK button and the data will now load into the data model. The connection was through the Power Query and the data is getting loaded into the data model. So you see here 118,000 rows get loaded, and we can refresh the data similar fashion from this window itself if any new data coming in. To use the data, again we go to the Power Pivot window, Manage button. To see the data in Power Pivot view first, the data got loaded. So you can use the pivot table from here, or you can directly create a pivot table using the insert pivot table option using from data model and create the report. Right, so we create this small report here and then we save this file again, and this time just to see that the second option which we use using Power Query is the same compression we get. It is the similar kind of a compression we get in this case as well, right? So whichever method you use it, but use a data model for data compression. I hope you like the video. Thank you very much for watching.